are you? Are you busy writing this sentence? Okay, so you know, like there are several problems in the first period feminism. So then create one sentence, just one sentence to explain one of the problems, okay? So there are several problems, but just one problem. Then explain it. You don't have to write a long sentence. I think Minori-san is bringing some. Okay, if you do not have a sheet, please use your own piece of paper. Okay. I think Minori-san is now in a TA room and pick up the sheets. And if you take 2-3 sheets for your friends, just give it to your classmate. Okay. If you do not have a sheet, just use your own piece of paper. Then for the registration for presentation, we'll do it during the break time. Okay? So if you have a team, go to Minori-san and then pick up the registration form, okay, during the break time, not now. Okay? And also I will announce about the midterm exam, so I'll do it during the break time. Okay? Can I start the class? Can I start the class? You don't have to submit this now. Minori-san will pick up the sheet. Okay? So if you do not have a sheet, please use your own piece of paper. Okay? I think I brought more than 200 sheets, but it's gone. Why? Yeah. Okay. So can I start? Can I start? Okay. Okay, so your classmate, Mr. Toshima, made a nice PowerPoint slides for us. So I will upload the slide to the instruction materials. Okay, so all the materials are located in the instruction materials. Okay, hello, hello. So where is this material? Instruction materials. Okay, okay. So yeah, Mr. Toshima nicely drew the picture, but he said like, well, he couldn't draw like this style. So looks like, I don't know how to say, but this looks very fast to go to the present times. But well, the original one was something like this. Sorry. So, yeah, the original, how to say, one was something like this, not too, okay. So, but, yeah, so it's a little bit different, okay. But this was what we have learned last time, okay. So, yeah, let's start. And Minori-san will pick up the sheet at 9 o'clock. Okay. Then this sheet is not for your points. Okay. This is for kind of an assessment. Okay. Whether you understand the content or not. This, it's actually, this is very important, and this will be one of the question of final exam. Okay. So I want you to understand how much you understand the contents. Okay. This is not for attendance points. Okay. So this is for your assessment. I mean the assessment. Okay. Is it clear? Okay. Okay. So then we just quickly review the previous one. So the liberal feminism started around here, like the late 18th century. Okay? So, and then social feminism in the mid 19th century. Okay? Then these were called first period feminism or first wave feminism. Okay? Then they are, what they are pursuing? Do you remember? Of course, there are a lot of points, but there are mainly 2 points to achieve. What was it? Yeah. Yeah, women's suffrage, right to vote. And second, yeah, equal participation in the labor market, employment opportunities. So those 2 are main points. In the first period. Then but there are problems. Okay? There are problems. So we will check the problems. Okay? So there are several problems. Then, so at 9 o'clock, after 9 o'clock, we will check the problems. Then we learn a little bit about the second period. Okay? So the second period is around here. So after the end of World War, around 1960s. So here, yeah, maybe I'll check right now. So feminists just focus on the official place, official site. And then all the standards are based on man. Worker, usually the standard of worker in general, is imagined as a male worker. So this standardized worker is not pregnant, for example. So then all the standards are based on men. So if women pursue equality with a man, women somehow becomes like a man. But it's very hard. Okay? So that's a kind of a dilemma. Okay? So probably you could write several sentences, one sentence to indicate this. Okay? Then the second period. So I introduced a little bit about radical feminism. Okay? So in radical feminism, there are several keywords like, do you remember the one keyword? Any keywords? Do you remember? Modernization was the key word in the first period. Okay. Yeah, well, it's a good question. Okay. So the first period, the key word is modernization. Yeah. Then modernize the society, but mainly the official place of the society. Second period, people, it's not only the, official place. So maybe we have to focus more on the private life. Private life. So then there are several keywords like patriarchy, Do you remember patriarchy? What's the patriarchy? Yeah, there are probably several definitions, but please check your note, or citation papers. We have the keywords like patriarchy is the social system of male domination. I think you have the sentence in the keywords, right? So did you check the note? You have your notes, right? So the patriarchy is one of the keyword, and also the female bodies are one of the keyword. Then we have checked a little bit about probably you have the citations, okay? So it's just a review. So please take a look at the page 5. So there are several works in radical feminism. Okay? So then they are talking about, they are focusing on female bodies. Then there are also citations on patriarchy, which is a social system of domination. So please check the notes, right? Okay, so so this was called radical feminism. Then, actually there are other feminisms too, but these two are major feminisms in the second period. So then I talk a little bit about Marxist feminism. So Minori-san, could you start to collect the sheet? Okay. I think, number one is radical feminism. Number 2. Okay, Marxist feminism. The main point was this. The core message of Marxist feminism is the discovery of unpaid work. Unpaid work. I think you remember that in modern times, which is up until present from 18th century, late 18th century until present time, sexual division of labor. Was formed. Okay? Sexual division of labor was formed in the late 18th century, then up until present. So then here, there's a tendency, like men paid work. Then women housework. There's a tendency, but this division was made in the late 18th century. This is what we have learned in the first section. Then, this housework, but how, Marxist feminists say, like the discovery of unpaid work. So it's something like this. So people knew that there was a sexual division of labor, okay? But yeah, at that time, it was in the 1970s, right? 1970s. So usually people thought that it's just natural, okay? Something like this. Because, well, it's natural, universal. Men paid work, women unpaid work, but gradually, like, this housework is actually work, unpaid work. Marxist feminists were aware of this concept. Like, before that, housework or works for caring people, like family members, were not recognized as work or labor. Okay? But in the 1970s, Marxist feminist, she's called Maria della Costa. Dalla Costa. Is this spelling correct? Maria della Costa. W-A. Yeah. So she found that actually housework or care work are work, labor, but it's not paid. So it means that the capitalist sector do not pay money to those work. So when you work, you can get money, right? When you work, you can get money. So when you go to Baito, you can get money. But housework, nobody pay your money. Then we thought that it's just general, usual, normal. But actually, there's something here. So that's what Maria della Costa found. Then the detailed parts would be discussed in the third section. So the detailed part will be in the third section. So what you have to remember is this, the discovery of unpaid work. People knew that women were doing housework, but those work was not recognized as labor. Okay, is this clear? Is this clear? So sometimes, like people say, like, well, housewives are just easy jobs or easy things, okay? Because you can sleep or you can eat any times, or it's just easy. People say something like this, but how do you think, Minori-san? Minori-san, how do you think of this kind of, well, housework or housewife, just easy?
I'm not sure it is easy for all housewives to do work. So for me, in my opinion, in my case, it's very hard work. So because I have to wake up at so very early, so at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or 5 a.m. Yes, every morning.
And you start to take care of my kids or making
some foods and so many things I have to. And after come here, study after. So I have counted my time. How long I'm doing my housework in house every day. So I recognize that it takes over 5 hours in a day. 5 hours, yeah, 5 hours in a day, not a week. Every day I'm doing housework, for over 5 hours. But still I have many things to do.
And also when your kids were very small, like if you are sleeping, but you have to be aware of your kids, right? So that kind of thing. But the work, so nobody paid, right?
Yeah.
Nobody paid. Nobody paid. Right? So nobody paid. So there was this kind of dilemma here. Okay? So that's what Marxist feminists discovered. Okay? So because last time economists, okay, so Marxists, well, they were mainly economists. Okay? Usually, economics just focus on the official field, okay? Companies, offices, okay? Not focus on the household. Now, household, probably household or family were paid attention. Okay? So those fields are like a private field, right? Private field. Even the economist started to focus on this kind of private or private field. That's what happened in the second period. Okay? So then, okay, is it clear for you? Like a Marxist feminism. So what was the core message here? What was the core message of Marxist feminism? Discovery of unpaid work. Okay? Okay, so let's go to the next. In this period, the concept of gender was introduced. This is what we have learned in the first section. So it's a little bit kind of a review. Okay? So concept of gender, 1970s by Anne Oakley. But yeah, so the concept, so it's a concept, okay? So the thought, concept of gender was introduced. Do you remember the concept of gender? Yeah, how do you explain the concept of gender? Yeah, you may check the note. You may check your note. Anybody who can say, okay.
So the concept of gender is like the separation between the social and biological.
Okay, so which one is gender?
Gender is the social.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So gender is a social construction of sexual difference. Sex is biological. So this kind of, how to say, the distinction between society and biology introduced in the 1970s. Okay. Then also, gradually, women's studies were created. Yeah, it was in the 1980s. So before this period, if you go to the universities, you can't find any courses on gender, women's studies. When I was undergraduate student, many years ago. So that time my university did not have women's studies or gender studies course. So But that was, of course, that was after 1980s. It was in Japan. So this kind of movement started from the United States. In Japan, in the 1990s, gradually, the women's studies courses were introduced. Okay. So this was what happened in the second period. Okay. So this is the first version of Mr. Toshima. So he revised like this. Okay, so anyway, so let's take a look at this. So we are, where's my pointer? Yeah, here. So we are around here. Okay. So 1970s, okay, women's concept of gender was introduced, okay, and also 1980s, the women's studies were created in several kinds of universities. Okay, then problems. Problems. I was the numbering was wrong, right? I'm sorry, I think my numbering was wrong. I think my numbering was wrong somewhere, like, no, it was okay. Sorry, I was misunderstood. Okay, so 3, okay. Then number 4, it's a problem. The first period problems were, as you mentioned, only focus on the official parts, not focus on the private life, no household, or no, how to say, like a relation between men and women, including a romantic and sexual relations. So that was the first period problem. Then the second period reflected those problems, right? Referring to those problems. Then the second period feminism were developed. So then, but what are the problems in the second period? So in the second period, there are many problems in the second period, but I will introduce 2 major problems. Okay? One, it's that. Okay? So as I said, the women's studies started in the 1980s in the United States. Okay? Then, in European countries. And in Japan, like 1990s. Then before this concept of gender or women's studies, there was women's liberation movement. So these movements from 1960s, 1970s, mainly in United States of America or European countries. Then, Japan, Japan has women's liberation movements. So, but what you have to know is that, so these movements and the women's studies in the universities, those movements were happening mainly in United States, European countries, and also Japan. So what are the characteristics of those areas? Which country? Poor countries? Relatively rich countries, right? So then also, those women who are who were active in the women's liberation or other movements were mainly middle class women, and especially in the United States, those were white middle class women. Problems were something like this. Feminism movements said that, well, women have to be united. Okay? But actually, the movements were only for middle classes women, especially white women. Then also in Japan, middle class women. Not the women working in the factories. So it means that the women in, for example, in the third world, was not included in this movement, and poor women were not included in this movement. Okay. So it means that, the feminists came to aware that there was a gap, big gap between women. So feminists thought that women were discriminated, women were repressed. Okay? So all women, let's get together, united. But actually, among women, there's a huge gap. Do you know the word third world? Those who know the word, please raise your hand. Okay. The third world, the term was created in during the Cold War time. So first world, it's U.S., European, West European countries. Second world, Soviet Union, China, those socialist countries. Then the rest were called the third world. So for example, like Indonesia, India, Southeast Asian countries, African countries, Latin American countries. Those were represented as the third world country. Okay? So nowadays we do not use the term like first world and second world, but we still use the third world. So if you do not know, please check your dictionary when you go back to your place. Okay? So anyway, there are problems. One of the problems is like this. So the feminisms in the second period was only for the white middle class women or rich women. Then the feminists started to be aware that, there was a gap among women. Okay, so then the second one. So last time, after the class, one male student came to me, and then you only talk about women's liberation. Yeah, so, but, actually it was the class of history. So I was mainly talking about the history. But actually, that's the very good question. So feminism is only for liberation of women. Okay. So men is the enemy of women. What do you think? Are men the enemy of women? No. Well, it depends on your, yeah, sometimes in your personal life, like, men are my enemy or something like that. Well, but yeah, feminism, okay, does not say that men are the enemy of women. But, okay, the feminisms actually problematize the social system of male domination. It's not a certain man's domination. Then in this male domination system, men are also dominated. Men are not liberated. So actually, this but the feminists did not think about this concept, idea. Well, men also have to be liberated, men's liberation, because men are also victims of this male domination society. Then men are thought to be superior position, but actually men are hard, right? What do you think? Men looks like enjoy a better position, but actually men have to work from early morning until night sometimes. They work until die sometimes in the Japanese companies, like the black companies. Yeah. So, but men cannot say, well, I'm so tired, I can't work. Men cannot say that. Why? Because men should be strong. Men has a gender norms. Okay. So, in a sense, men also have to be liberated. That's the message. So, in the end of the second period, this idea, like a men's liberation, is introduced. Then, men's studies. Were created in the third period. So, it's in the history of second period. There are several problems, but one of the problems is, well, the second period's feminism only focus on middle class white women, and also only focus on women. How about men? So those were the problems in the second period. So it's a little bit early, but please have a break for 5 minutes now. Okay? For those students who want to sign up for the presentation, please come to Minori-san and then pick up a registration paper.
Oh, that one.
You're not like to a roast and you'll share. Are we going to get a picture?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
With you, okay?
one paper only. One group has one paper. Okay? We have 250 students, and I don't think that's all of you want to participate in the paper. It's not a compulsory one. Okay? It's a voluntary group work. Okay?
So from group 1 to group 4, so that these groups were decided the last previous class. So the leader of groups, please come here. The name is Jessica Lohr, Dao Van. Sorry, I didn't. Alice. This one, sorry. You have, okay. Do you have it? It's you. Okay, okay. Yes.
Okay, for the registration. Hello. Hello. You may give the sheet, registration form sheet to Minori-san after the class. Okay, you don't have to do it right now. Okay, so then I think my numbering was wrong, right? Like, so this was first period, this was second period. What I wrote was a little bit wrong, so please correct the numbering. So to number 1 would be radical feminism. 2, with this 4, it's Marxist feminism. So add brackets. Okay. 3, gender concept and women's studies. 4, problems. Is it clear? Right? So I was wrong. I'm sorry. Okay. So let's go to the third period. Okay, third period. Okay, so for the third period, please take a look at your citation. Okay, I believe that I think that you already read those citation paragraph. Okay, so we are in the page 6 of the citation paper, page 6. Okay. So please take a look at the citation number 2, 3, around there. Okay, let's move to the third period. So after the second period, like radical feminism, Marxist feminism, third period's keyword is diversity, like the age of diversity. Okay, age of diversity. As we have checked in the last, just this previous class, the second period, so the feminists came to understand that there was a gap among women, and also men's studies should be focused. Men should be liberated too. Okay. Then in the third period, feminism. So last time it was called feminism. Okay. But now there are a lot of feminisms in the world. Okay. So not only the feminism for middle class women, but feminism for black lesbian, for example, or Latin American women. So there are feminisms for third world women. So here people were conscious that we can't say feminism because it's not just the same. We have to say feminisms. So put plural S. Should be plural. Feminism should be plural. Okay. That's one of the message in the third period. Then, please take a look at the citation number 2 and 3 in page 6. Okay. In the citation, it says something about this. Okay, let's take a look at the citation parts. Okay, it's here. So please take a look at your own paper. So I just show the parts. So it's in 6. Page 2, for example. So one such war was led by black feminism. Feminists in North America who argued that uncritical use of the category women in radical and liberal feminism concealed the realities of racism. Okay. There were not only differences of experience and identity between white and colored women, but actually relations of exclusion and exploitation. For instance, the presence of low-paid black or Latina domestic workers in the households of white professional women. Okay. So this is one of the example of this message of feminisms. Okay. So please take a look at number 3 too. Number 3. So you know where we are. So given the diversity of sexualities, regions, classes, and nationalities, the result was a great multiplication of positions, standpoints, and identities. It became conventional among middle-class white feminists in the 1990s to speak of feminists instead of feminisms feminisms instead of feminism, in order to recognize diversity and disclaim privilege. Okay, so this is saying about this feminisms. I'm sorry I didn't mention the time it was. So it's 1919 to present, okay, up until present. So, okay. So we are still in the third period, third wave feminism. Okay. So first point clear? Is first point clear? So no more feminism, but feminisms. Okay. Second point. Okay. Second point would be post-colonial feminism. Post-colonial feminism. So you know the word colonial or colonial or colony or colonization. Yeah. So I told you about the third world, right? So those third world countries were previously colonized, okay, by European countries or Japan. Japan used to colonize, for example, like Korea or Taiwan, right? So, post-colonial is the concept that after decolonization, okay, decolonization was mainly in 1960s, but still there's a colonial domination. From the viewpoint of culture and thought. Okay, over the former colonies. This kind of situation is called a post-colonial situation. So even after the colonialism, it's still a colonial, kind of a colonial domination. But this colonial domination is not from the political one, but from the culture and thought. So the people of the colonies, culturally or what I say, their thoughts and cultures are dominated. Okay, that's the message of the post-colonial critique. Then, among post-colonial critiques, there's one work called "Can the Subaltern Speak?" by Gayatri Spivak. By Spivak. She's from India. Okay. Gayatri Spivak is from India, but she's currently teaching in Columbia University in New York. Then it's said to be, can you see here? Post-colonial feminine. She's called feminist, post-colonial feminist, but what she presents, it's called post-colonial feminism. So what she said was something like this. So she's talking about India. Okay. the society, like Indian society, then the Indian society it's in a post-colonial situation, even after decolonization, but still there's a domination over people in India from the viewpoint of thought and culture. That in this situation, women, okay, especially women, subaltern, it's how to say, like the people who are subordinated, okay, subordinated people. So the women are one of the subaltern people, the weak people. Okay? So the message is very strong. Can the subaltern speak? Can those weak women speak? What do you think? So this is a very strong message. So Spivak actually said in her essay, the subaltern cannot speak because their thoughts and minds are dominated, controlled. Women do not have their own words. So that's the situation. Then what should we do? So European women or Japanese women or women in which country speak for them, okay, but can they really represent the subaltern? No, right? So it's a very big issue, which is really difficult. You can't just solve the problem. Okay? It's a big issue. Probably you and I have to, solve this kind of problem, but it's not an easy job. So what you have to remember is this. The Spivak message is very, very hard. Like, can the subaltern speak? Can those women speak? No, they can't speak. But we cannot, or we should not speak for them, okay? Because we can't be a representative of those poor women. So that kind of dilemma, it's shown in this post-colonial feminism. So for detail, please take a look at your citation. For page 7, please go and check page 7. And somewhere around here, number 4. Okay, so post-colonial theory first. Sorry. Okay, it's in page 7. Okay. So page 7, number 4, and number 5. So post-colonial theory is, the term post-colonial was originally used in the 1970s to refer to nations who moved beyond imperialist rule after the Second World War, and later came to be used to reflect on how all cultures had been affected by European imperialism up until the present day. So it's talking about this. Okay. So here is the important term. Okay. How all cultures had been affected by European imperialism up until the present day. The number 5, there has been a growing interest in post-colonial feminisms. Okay. So talking about the Spivak and other feminists. In a comprehensive account of these discussions, reorienting Western feminism, Chila Bolbeck surveys women's diversity in a post-colonial world and confronts the radical consequences for Western feminists. To respond adequately to diversity is not just a matter of tacking anti-racism onto an existing agenda. The issue is deeper, concerning ways of knowing and methods of action it is a matter of learning to see oneself as others see one, learning to respect other experiences as genuinely other, learning to pluralize the view of the world, and learning to work in coalition votes. So here, it is a matter of learning to see oneself as others see one, learning to respect other experiences as genuinely other. It means that you can't be a representative of others. Right? So this part is a little bit difficult, but the core message is here, like even after the decolonization, the colonial rule, a kind of a colonial rule is still continuing. And this kind of idea is also influencing in the feminist part. Okay? So, can I go to the next? Okay, number 3. It takes a little bit time though. Okay, so men's liberation is one of the issue of the third world, as we have learned. Okay, so men's liberation should be also a topic. So men's studies was developed. And also queer studies. Were introduced. Okay. So one of the important writer was called Judith Butler. It's called Gender Trouble. So queer. Have you ever heard the term queer before? Do you know the term queer? Okay, those who know the term queer, please raise your hand. Okay, those who do not know what I'm saying. Okay, yeah, queer. Well, it's how to say? It used to be a term. Kind of a discriminating word, like something like in Japanese, something like okama or hentai or something like this. But after several years, this term used to be, those who were called queer began to use the word by themselves in their advantage. So last time it was a discriminating word, but they appropriate the term by their advantage. Okay. Then usually the queer it's signifying the people like lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, transsexual. But actually this term it's to problematize the idea that heterosexuality is normal. Okay. So we usually use this term for signifying lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, transgender people. But actually, okay, so the term is very deep. like this term actually problematize the idea that heterosexuality is normal. Okay? So heterosexuality is like men should like women, women should like men, and it's universal, it's normal, that kind of idea. So those who are against this kind of idea can be called queer. Okay? So those were in the third period. So in the third period, so you remember like feminisms. Okay? Feminism, so the diversity of feminism, then feminisms. Then second, like a post-colonial feminisms. Third, men's studies. Fourth, queer studies. So there are a variety of feminisms in the third period. So those can be called like a diversity age. Okay. So please take a look at this picture again. So just quickly review. So we have traced the history from the first period, okay, and second period. Okay, second period we had Marxist feminism, radical feminism. First period was more like suffrage, equal opportunity for employment, official place. But second period is more like private sphere, female bodies. Okay. Then in the third period, diversity of feminism. So the feminisms are not only for women, not only for middle class people. Okay. That's the history of feminism, and we are here. Okay. We're here. So, is it clear? Do you have questions? Do you have questions so far? Okay, can I move to the second part? Third part. So I think this was wrong. I don't have number 4. So can I go to the third? Okay. Can I go to the third? Okay. Okay. So let's move to the third part. Third one is gender and capitalism. So here, we will talk about the capitalism. Okay. So then it's more like economic sites. And then, yeah, you remember that there's a sexual division of labor, right? Sexual division of labor. Okay, do you remember when was this formed? When was this formed? 18th century, 20th century. 18th century. Yes, you're right. 18th century. Okay. So, then now, what I want you to do is something like this. So why there's a sexual division of labor in the world? Okay. So we have to understand the structural reasons. Because we are in a gender and capitalism. So, because today I have a lot of lecture, so I will move to the kind of time to do some exercise first. Okay, so the sexual division of labor, probably you remember like paid work, yeah, and unpaid work. So there were separation between this work And then mainly men do paid work and unpaid work for women. This kind of system was created in the late 18th century up until now. Right? So, but what is the structure? Or why this kind of, how to say, like a system was created? Is it in favor for capitalism or against capitalism? Is this in favor of men or in favor of women or, yeah. So those were the questions of this section, okay? So, yeah, please, I think I have a PowerPoint. Okay, please list a kind of unpaid work. Okay, maybe you can't see. So list the work, like unpaid work, like cook breakfast, wash dishes from morning until night. Breakfast, wash dishes, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'll give you 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes. So do it individually first. Okay, I'll give you 3 minutes for individual work. Then after that, 2 minutes, please share with your group members, okay? So what you have to do is like list the kinds of, I don't know how to write, I'm sorry. List a kind of unpaid work. For example, like cook breakfast first, wash dishes, after what you do, yeah. So just imagine, 3 minutes first. If your friends are sleeping, just wake them up. Wake up! Wake up! Hello! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! You know what you have to do right now? Okay, probably you want to share with your friends, right? You know what you have to do? See the PowerPoint. Okay, yeah, so let's share. Let's move to the sharing part. I'll give you 2 minutes. Let's share with your partner, group classmates. And if your friends are still sleeping, just wake your friends up. Minori-san, could you come? Okay. Okay, so let's share first. What kind of housework do we have? Yeah. So it's a time of your bonus points. So from which part I should go? Okay. Any ideas?
I think that a lot of people are going to talk about, all the washes, clothes, ironing and everything, but I would like to talk about a kind of a sexual duty, because I think that in a lot of family, when the husband wants to have sex, or when you have to have children to be a children carrier, the woman can't say no, so for me sexual duty is unpaid work.
So, yeah, but actually it's an important thing. Yeah. Minori-san, 大丈夫? Sexual. Okay, yeah. Yeah, actually that's one of the housework. Okay, anything?
Like she's saying, so the woman has the sexual duty, but in the second part she has to raise all the children, and it's even nowadays it's still seen as the woman's duty to raise children and to give them breakfast, to make their bed, to give them clothes. Alright.
Yeah, like take care of children. Okay, so one is sexual duty. Minori-san, sexual duty 入れて。You don't have to erase. And okay.
So this is actually not related to like listing kinds, but I just want to say something about the idea of the woman over here, that she was mentioning sexual duty towards the husband. And I think it's just how she see the problem. If she see it as a duty, it's a duty, but if you actually get paid for doing that job, it would be a different thing.
Well, it's a big problem, because what we have to think is substitution. So your idea is very good. Your point is very good. Okay, so this is So this is sexual. List the work first. Okay, so take care of children. Anything like?
I think another point would be like managing the home, like the money they manage for the household activities, like the shoppings and groceries and stuff.
Managing the household. Okay.
The wife have to clean up the room or house.
Clean the room. Okay. Anything else?
The wife or the mother have to teach their children from early age until before they go to school.
Okay. Sometimes teach kids. Okay. Or do you have anything very general, like cook breakfast, wash dishes? Yeah. Just include wash clothes, or any other houseworks.
Like I think in like some special events, like the mom is always the one who buys things, not the man, like not the father. Like for example, in my country, there's like in New Year's Eve, they will like my mom will prepare everything, but my dad does nothing.
So for several occasions, like your mom have to prepare for everything, like party, for celebration, but your father does not do anything. Okay, so probably you can list a lot of things like any other. Well, you don't have to be specific. Just in general, like cook meal. Could you add cook? Okay, somewhere like. Just cook, wash dishes, wash clothes, child care, any other? Don't go to the specific one. Probably that kind of thing, yeah. Clean the house? Yeah, clean the house.
Basically managing everyone's laundry, like the husbands to the kids.
Okay. So thank you very much. So then the next question, probably there are a lot of like you have to dispose garbage, or you have to go buy food, and what else, like there are a lot of things, right? So next. Minori-san ganbatteru. Okay, next one is like this. So the substitutions of housework in a capitalist sector. So if you do not do by yourself, or if your mother does not do this housework by herself, but if we ask this in the capital sector, which means like, well, yeah, do not cook meal but eat a joyful. You know joyful, right? Or do you still say like a joyless? Okay, joyless or joyful. Okay, so that's the kind of a substitution. Okay. So yeah, find the substitutions. This is a list, right? Okay. So do you understand this idea? Okay. So I'll give you 1 minute. So you have a list, right? So just write, and you have your own list. So just write the substitution of those kinds of housework. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute. Okay, there's one more important housework. Yeah, what is it?
I want to mention about the very important housework is burying the children, because you cannot give another woman to do it. It's habit, but it's very rare. But this is the mother rose, and she has to do it. It's very hard and painful.
So, having a children. Yeah. Then, is there a substitution in the capitalist sector?
For having a children. Where you can stay as a single, or you can actually adopt children. That's yeah. So, actually, this is for people who cannot fertilize an egg. So you're actually hiring a mother who will bear your child. So in a capitalist, you're actually paying them. So that's a capitalist way of having a baby.
So yeah, these points are also very important. Okay, other than this, yeah, let's go to other parts, like yeah, any other substitution.
Nowadays, I heard that there are a new service for the women who are lazy to go shopping or get tired of shopping too long in the supermarket, long line of the structure, and that is cheaper. That you don't have to click on the internet, choose the item that you want to buy at the supermarket, and then some the shipper will go to the supermarket, click on you, and then ship it.
So other than going to supermarket by yourself, but we have a kind of a service like using the internet, or then somebody will go to Marushoku and then buy some food or stuff for you. Then carry those things to your place. Okay. So any other substitution? Yeah, for how about?
Okay, from the first one, yeah, I think Okay, skip it. And from the second, eat joyful is have the answer. So the third one is the husband also has this duty to care for children.
But substitution in a capitalist sector. Your husband is in a capitalist sector?
So maybe the housemaid. Maybe just hire someone to take care. They all sent to school.
Okay. Yeah. So for childcare, employ housemaid. Okay.
Or you can send them to the father and mother-in-laws. They do that a lot in Asia, I think. Grandparents taking care of their grandchildren.
But is it really substitutions in a capitalist sector?
Well, for developing countries, when the parents are always working, even the women, they resort to this situation.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, but it's so. Do those parents pay money to grandparents as something like as much money as you paid in for the babysitter?
But they still do for maybe the milk or food.
Okay, it depends, but this would be included in a housework. So what we have to find is a substitutions in the capitalist sector, which you have to pay.
So like all the housework, you can just hire the maid to do it for you?
Could you say it again? Sorry.
Hello? Did you hear me? So like for all the housework, you just hire the maid to do it all for you. You don't have to do anything. Yeah, just hire.
How about the sexual duty?
Well, I guess you can just go outside. There's a lot of women that are ready to give him some happiness, I guess.
Yeah, so having babies, there is this choice of having test tube babies or surrogate mothers. They can be paid, and test tube babies are in turn really expensive. So, and in case of washing clothes, they can give it to the laundry people. So they are used in that.
Okay, thank you. Washing clothes for laundry. Okay.
I mean, technically speaking, the sexual duties could also be satisfied by the maid or mistress. Like, I mean, wasn't it like French royalty back in the day? Like, they would have their wife, but then they would have like various other mistresses that would like handle their, sexual appetite.
So, those sexual duties and bearing children are big issues, I understand. Yeah, but basically, okay, I think we can think those things as a kind of a category of housework or reproductive labor. So I introduce one new terminology here. It's called reproductive labor. Okay. So please take a look at your citation. Thank you, Minori-san. So please take a look at your citation. Page 7. So I will explain a little bit about this reproductive labor or unpaid work. So the term is from reproduction. Production, it's an opposite term of reproduction. Production means producing goods and services in a capitalist sector. Okay. Reproduction is reproduce can you see this? Labor force. Sorry, this is, I will up this. Sorry. Reproduce labor force. Okay. Then this has several meanings. Reproduce labor force every day. Like you work, well, you are a student, but I work very hard. Then after that, after working, I have to work tomorrow too. So for this, I have to reproduce my labor force, okay, my power, okay, maintain, okay, otherwise I will die. Okay. So then for this, there are several jobs here. Like, I have to eat something, I have to, take a shower, I have to sleep, but for this, you need a lot of work. Okay? Somebody cook for me, or I have to cook, or when after I take a shower, somebody has to clean the bathroom, or for the bed, I have to change the sheets, okay? Or clean the rooms. Okay? So, for reproducing labor force, you need some force. So that's called reproductive labor. Then, it's not only for one generation. You need to reproduce the labor force in the next generation, which means, then this sexual duty, something is interrupting. Okay, sexual duty and, where is that? Caring children is where bear baby. Where is it? Here? Okay, baby. Yeah, these two are also needed. Okay? So then these could be in the capitalist sector too, but probably next class we will calculate costs. Okay, calculate costs. Then we will understand the secret of gender and capitalism. Okay? So, So that's it for the first period. Okay? So have a break for 15 minutes. And then during this break, Minori-san will make a copy of the registration form. So if you want to register for the presentation, please wait a little bit. Okay? So have a break for 15 minutes.